A fortune cookie is a crisp and sugary cookie usually made from flour, sugar, vanilla, and sesame seed oil with a piece of paper inside, a fortune, on which is an aphorism, or a vague prophecy. The message inside may also include a Chinese phrase with translation, or a list of lucky numbers used by some as lottery numbers. Since relatively few distinct messages are printed, in the recorded case where winning numbers happen to be printed, the lottery had an unexpectedly high number of winners sharing a prize. Fortune cookies are often served as a dessert in Chinese restaurants in the United States and other Western countries, but are not a tradition in China. The exact origin of fortune cookies is unclear, though various immigrant groups in California claim to have popularized them in the early 20th century. They most likely originated from cookies made by Japanese immigrants to the United States in the late 19th or early 20th century. The Japanese version did not have the Chinese lucky numbers and was eaten with tea. As far back as the 19th century, a cookie very similar in appearance to the modern fortune cookie was made in Kyoto, Japan. And there is a Japanese temple tradition of random fortunes, called omikiji. The Japanese version of the cookie differs in several ways. They are a little bit larger, are made of darker dough, and their batter contains sesame and miso rather than vanilla and butter. They contain a fortune, however, the small slip of paper was wedged into the bend of the cookie rather than placed inside the hollow portion. This kind of cookie is called tsujura senbei, and is still sold in some regions of Japan, especially in Kanazawa, Ishikawa. It is also sold in the neighborhood of Fushimi Inaritaisha Shrine in Kyoto. Makoto Hagiwara of Golden Gate Park's Japanese Tea Garden in San Francisco is reported to have been the first person in the U.S. to have served the modern version of the cookie, when he did so at the tea garden in the 1890s or early 1900s. The fortune cookies were made by a San Francisco bakery, Benkyodo. David Jung, founder of the Hong Kong Noodle Company in Los Angeles, has made a competing claim that he invented the cookie in 1918. San Francisco's Court of Historical Review attempted to settle the dispute in 1983. During the proceedings, a fortune cookie was introduced as a key piece of evidence with a message reading, "San Francisco judge who rules for LA not very smart cookie." A federal judge of the Court of Historical Review determined that the cookie originated with Hagiwara, and the court ruled in favor of San Francisco. Subsequently, the city of Los Angeles condemned the decision. Seiichi Kato, the founder of Fujitsudo of Little Tokyo in Los Angeles, also claims to have invented the cookie. Kato claims to have gotten the idea of putting a message in a cookie from omikiji, fortune slip, which are sold at temples and shrines in Japan. According to his story, he sold his cookies to Chinese restaurants, where they were greeted with much enthusiasm in both the Los Angeles and San Francisco areas. Thus Kato's main claim is that he is responsible for the cookie being so strongly associated with Chinese restaurants.